We're on page 61 of your little atheist book. And we're contrasting unusual events with a miracle. They gave you a list of unusual events that are not miracles, but in some cases can be confused with miracles. And so how do they differ then from an actual miracle? So what is an anomaly? Yes.
It's something that we find in nature that we haven't figured out why it works yet.
Yeah, it's literally a freak of nature, something weird that nature does, and like a miracle, it is not common. It doesn't happen very often. I'm thinking right now of the Derecho that a few years back came through, and a Derecho is like a hurricane without the rain. And we all of a sudden heard this noise, and I turned around. We were in our teacher meetings at the beginning of the year, and I saw our basketball court right across the parking lot. And so that's a freak of nature, but it's naturally explained. It can be explained naturally. It would take a meteorologist to explain it, but it's not. Even though it's a rare occurrence and it's weird, it is not a miracle. It differs from a miracle because it is a natural occurrence. What is providence? Yes.
Essentially, it's
Yeah. So I'll get to you. So this is a God-caused thing, like a miracle, but unlike a miracle, it's explainable in a sense through natural causes. So God uses those natural causes.
I was going to say it's prearranged by God, and it's somewhat divine.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It's prearranged by God, and divine. Yes.
If God can work to do miracles, which are supernatural things, then surely He can work to do natural things.
Right. The
And
box
that's
is
providence. Yeah, providence is the natural. So messing with the cereal.
Yeah. So yes, all of that is good. It's something indirectly caused by God. I'm going to give you an example of this. Now, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this is a miracle. I don't know if this was providence. All I know for sure is I dropped my glasses down. All I know for sure
And that
is that this happened. It was a rare day. I don't know if it was a Saturday and Jeff was home that Saturday. I don't know. It was when my kids were very little, and I had a rare day to go shopping. Now, ladies, you don't understand, but someday you have to cheat. Hold on, one of those nasty little things that comes down that I could, and it's like, what? So I chose, and this tells you something about where our budget was at that time. I chose to go to Kmart. Now, you don't know this because it's long before you were born, but do you know that great big building that Bellevue University built on the hill where Galvin is and 75?
No.
Okay. So, and it has different colors at night and all that. That's where Kmart was, right there. And that parking lot was the Kmart parking lot. So I go to Kmart, and we lived in Twin Ridge, so I just lived a few blocks away. That's probably why I went to Kmart. And there was no Walmart yet, I don't think. I go in, and I don't know what I bought. I don't remember any of that. But we owned, at that time, again, stay-at-home mom, not a lot of money, a really beater van. Like a caravan, like one of the first caravans. And it was the ugliest color of brown you could ever imagine. So and it's before this, right? It's before these things. And so I put my key and I'm done shopping. I put my key in the door. I turn it. I hear it unlock, and I pull it, and it's locked. So I turn it again, and this time it opens, and I get in, and I go out of Kmart and turn left to go down to that light across from the billiard place, right on Fort Crook Road, and and I have a green light, and just as I pull out onto Fort Crook Road, and I'm turning left, this car comes flying through the intersection. Mine was green the whole way I could see it, and it hadn't turned even. And what I realized is that if my car would have unlocked the first time, I might have been T. So was that providence? Maybe. Was it a miracle? Maybe. I don't know. I'll find out when I get to heaven. I'll let you know. I think you'll know. Them too, because we'll know even as we're fully known. So that's possibly a type of providence. So what is a psychosomatic event? Yes.
Kind of like a mind over matter kind of thing, like similar to like how the placebo medicines work, like tricking your body into being better, like that.
That's a really good example. So does everybody understand the placebo effect? So when they do drug studies, some people get the drug, and some people get a placebo, which is like a sugar pill. It does nothing. But they know from studies that some people, and they have to when they publish their findings, they have to account for this, get better on the sugar pill. And often what is explained, the explanation is that something they believe that they're taking the real thing, and they believe that this is going to help them, and in some sense, it helps them physically. So that's something that's psychosomatic, and as Seamus called it, maybe mind over matter. Now somebody else was going to say something else. Is there another hand up?
I was gonna say like an example of that because it's hard to create that, conscious that. But an example of how far that can go is like when you take painkillers, sometimes the pain will feel alleviated when you first take it, even though it hasn't even started working yet. So it does. I feel like it does have limits on your consciousness, but it is.
I actually have a great example of what I'm pretty sure is my effect. So I take ADHD medicine like every morning, right? And it doesn't start working for like 10 or so minutes, but I'll take it and immediately I'll notice like a change. Right? Like as soon as I'm swallowing, I'm like, oh, I feel weight. And part of that is just knowing, yeah, it's going to feel it.
Yeah, that's psychosomatic. Very good explanation. So it's a psychological cures for that has limited power. Now sometimes they're false illnesses, but sometimes they're real, right? And you mentioned pain, and you mentioned ADHD. So it's yeah, but also a rare event. Yes.
Like we talked, Abe and I talked about this like before, like TV, televangelists like healing and such. That
Possibly. Sometimes. that happens too. But sometimes they're because God isn't, miracles are rare events, right? For all the people that have something that's awful that are healed, they're who are not. So they are rare events. What is magic? So
An entirely human-made invention that's just people using sleight of hand, like misdirection, diversions, to make an appearance of, oh, it disappeared for no known reason. You may have a future. I'm so back
in magic, I know he has.
I may have a future.
Sorry, I should have.
We don't have a future. Don't have futures.
No, Seamus, you're one of those students that I'm pretty sure is going to have to hold our gym. So we have a number of students like that.
He's going to use magic the gym. He's going to
I'm going to use sleight of hand.
Oh, I mean, it's famous enough.
True. Now watch your money disappear.
Yeah.
He's using Pokemon cards.
What?
That's true.
I use sweatpants, but I don't want to hear anything. You remember that day that Mrs. Coates was like, oh, they're cute, they're fine. Yeah, those were sweatpants, pal, alright? I don't want to hear anyone talk.
Those were not. It was just a jumper.
Okay. We'll just move on. Just move on. So
I
what
don't
is...
want to get crazy stuff.
Thank you. What are satanic signs? They're just exactly what they say.
I love how this book describes them. It's like they're basically counterfeit miracles that are not as like they're not they may not be immediate and their effects may be temporary. I really like the way he defines this because there's a lot of things that I've seen like I've been through a lot of churches that do have this culture of like constant praying. And the thing is, you see one miracle, and they get so caught up in how that miracle happens that there's they develop all these misconceptions. And so the way you can determine the real miracle from like a sign of like maybe that's not God. I don't think that's God because also another thing, which brings up another thing that defines it doesn't bring glory to God, it brings glory to the person doing it. And so that's another thing. The purpose of it, like it's got a really intelligent purpose. Like the miracle I've experienced in my life is like completely losing my anxiety in like a minute, just like, and it was a conversation that I had with God, and the purpose of losing that because right after that conversation, I went to go evangelize. So that had a purpose. That miracle was by God and it had a purpose. And it was still miraculous, but it had like an intelligent design. It wasn't just like, wow, that was cool.
You are 100% right on all of that. Yeah, satanic signs are, Satan is not God. Satan is not all powerful. He's not omniscient. He's none of that. But he has power. But everything he does, he tries to make it look like God. And so you need to know God well enough to know what is not God, what is a imitation, a false imitation. You're going to say something.
Kind of along the same lines. It said if it's satanic, it's not to be moral. Hope so.
Can't.
Yeah.
Yes.
My dad actually worked in a clinic, I guess. For people who maybe like struggling with some eating stuff. And so he has a lot of stories. The one that really stood out to me just now was there's this like little boy, and he was telling my dad how every night he would hear someone talking to him, and he would hear God talking to him, right? And God would tell him like, sneak out right now, and then you'll do this for me, and you'll have like super strength or something. And this kid was like breaking down like that door, like a 10-year-old little kid would like break down that door. So very strong, like crazy, supernatural, but the boys would also tell him to do so his parents. So his parents would tell him to do something, the boys would tell him to do. And so even though it was saying everything else right, it was still telling him to disobey his parents. And so I feel like that's something that Sage does a lot is it'll just be one thing. And everything else will look good, but then there will be one small thing that makes it completely different.
There's a song by one and it's called Counterfeit King. In the garden that he's just this really deep understanding. But at the end it says, and he's a liar, a beautiful liar, meaning that he really looks like it's not so. He has that ability. So yeah, it's the work of Satan, obviously, and it's limited, and then obviously Satan also has demons that can do his bidding as well, and it does not elevate God. It might elevate you. It might elevate something evil. It might elevate something that seems to be good, but it does not elevate. And then number 7, why don't we see biblical miracles today? Like, why aren't there more miracles? And that's one thing that atheists and non-Christians say. Well, if God can do miracles, why are we seeing them all?
Well, first of all, miracles happen, and I know there's lots of records of miracles on the Bible that happen. Bless you, Eli. But the Bible has accounts for thousands of years, so that the amount of miracles in that span of time is so little compared to the contrast of how much time passed. So if we're living in this moment right now, say we have 100 years to live, one miracle per 100 years, right? So that's such a small amount of miracles, and not everyone sees it in the world. So then it could just be literally one miracle to one person for 100 years. No one else but sees it. One person that sees it. Also, right now, if he doesn't want to fulfill a new word, or he doesn't have a new word to fulfill, he won't. So he doesn't have anything right now that we need to see.
John.
One of the whole point of being a miracle is that like it's not supposed to so only happen naturally, or like it's supposed to be a miracle. So like God doesn't usually hold on miracles for his existence, he just does it for the life of God, and that still proves his existence and any powers of God.
And any sort of will do more is unnecessary, correct? Yeah. So,
I was saying like, he uses miracles. Like there has to be a point, right? It's the point of God. But also, I think it kind of goes with the verse like, "Don't test your God," right? If he's done a miracle to prove the word he's given, he doesn't need to do another miracle to reassure it, right? And so, if there's no new thing that he's saying, there won't be any miracles because he's already given them. They're like confirmation. They're like his seal.
as if miracle. Allison.
The whole point of miracles during the Bible was to confirm God and his existence. But now we have the Bible, which is God's entire word. So he doesn't necessarily perform miracles all the time because we already have his whole word. And the other thing is God's not obligated to perform miracles for us. It's not some he doesn't owe it to us. I feel like sometimes we treat it like what Seamus was saying, like, oh, if you're real, then do this. And I used to do this as a kid.
I'll believe in you then.
Yeah, all the time.
Oh, me too.
I look back at that.
I'll obey you.
Yeah.
Uh,
I used to do that all the time as a kid, but I look back at that and that was super annoying. God, honestly, because he's not obligated to do anything for us. The fact that he chooses to bless us with miracles is, he chose to bless us. It's not a choice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We've never
Great
known
thoughts. Yes.
So going off a little bit of what John was talking about, like the more common something is, the less like impactful it is. Yeah. So if he did do miracles constantly, it'd just be like another thing. It's like, oh, look at that meteor got stopped again on its way to Earth. Big surprise. Something like that. But like, also, again, like, he has no new messages to confirm. And it's recorded in the Bible that the gap between the Old and New Testament, that was like 400 years. There was no miracles. Yeah. And that's because he already told them everything they needed to know. He told them a king is coming soon and to wait.
Yes.
I
Emily.
was gonna say kind of like, also there was that point where, I don't know where it was, but the people were waiting on Jesus because he promised that this is the time of their life where it's like, God's like, I'm still here to like confirm that even though he's not coming yet, like he's on his way, I'm still here, I'm still on my way. Just to kind of give the people like, I'm constantly like that reason waiting.
In this current age, personally, I think that miracles, the main purpose for miracles in this day and age is actually to reveal Jesus Christ. Because it's still technically a new message, because not everyone in the world has heard it. And if you, like a lot of people who are on the frontier of evangelism, they see more miracles than anyone. The purpose of miracles right now is not to put on a show, it's not to give anyone glory, it's to like reveal that Christ has come, he's died for your sins, and he has the power to save you. And that power is revealed by these miracles, by these testimonies. Because the one thing that someone can't take away from you is your testimony. So miracles have power on the frontier.
Yeah, so we hear these stories of closed countries, places where God's name has not been mentioned. People literally don't know about God, don't know about Jesus, and they're having dreams about Jesus. And dreams from God, obviously. I want to make one more point, and then also, hopefully, I don't know, encourage you with something. So people seem to think like and Aylin alluded to this, like there are miracles all the time. There aren't miracles all the time. And some things that we call miracles aren't really miracles. But there are these punctuated periods of time where God is bringing something new. Like when Jesus came to earth, were there a lot of miracles? Yes. Why? To confirm who Jesus was. And that's the purpose of it. But then there are thousands of years, and as Natalie said, 400 years, the silent years of God, between the close of the Old Testament and the coming of Christ. And I believe that we're in one of those sort of times now, right? Between the death and the resurrection of Christ and his second coming. But with his second coming will be a pouring out with that time period. That tribulation, he will pour out his power on earth, as will Satan. So we need to keep in mind salvation history as well. And then the last thing, because something that Allison said really struck me. Here's a song. I'm not going to play it for you because you're going to probably think it's old timey, because it is. It's from I don't know the 90s or something. By a guy named Scott Crookie or Payne. And it's called You Have Been Good. And it starts out, and I don't know all the lyrics, but it starts out, if I never live to see another sunrise, if I never have another blessing come my way, if this is all I know of heaven's kindness, then Father, I'd still have to say, you have been good. You have been good. I am in I can't even remember, but through all of my life, you've been good. And as one who is living in the last years of her life, I can testify that he will be